On July 16, 2019, Deborah Hamill, a 65-year-old grandmother, was stopped by Officer Massini from the Cashin Police Department. The reason for the stop was a broken taillight on her truck while she was driving in Cashin, Oklahoma. The subsequent exchange between them is recorded by Officer Massini's body camera. After Ms. Hamill declined to exit the vehicle, Officer Massini proceeded to remove her forcefully, resulting in her being thrown to the ground. He then made an attempt to handcuff her. However, Ms. Hamill resisted by refusing to place her hands behind her back and kicking Officer Massini.
How long ago has it been like that?
Probably about 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, you've had plenty of time to get it fixed.
I've driven up here a lot.
Live here in town?
No, my name's Hamill. I live out on Highway 74.
Hamill, huh?
Yeah, Hamill.
Related to Hank?
I'm his mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, busted taillight seems to be a pattern with the Hamills.
Well, y'all had a headlight out on one of your cop cars the other night.
We did?
In response, Officer Massini backed away and drew his taser. When Ms. Hamill tried to stand up, he discharged the taser, invoking Section 643 of the situation. Ms. Hamill was informed that her decision to flee had exacerbated her legal predicament. Subsequently, she faced charges of eluding, resisting arrest, obstructing law enforcement, and assault and battery on an officer.
Just looking for it.
Can you at least get the light?
They've got lights on them, don't they? They do have lights in them, and they do work.
Well, it's broken.
Yeah, I know it's
So
broken.
if you hit your brake lights, that white bulb's going to blind somebody at night.
Oh, okay. Well, can
That's-
you put red tape on it? Will that work?
Yeah, but I don't think red tape's going to help you there. You don't have enough plastic to tape over.
Well, you know, I kind of hate to buy one if I'm going to get the whole bed and it's going to have everything on it.
I gotcha.
You know, I just don't want to spend the money.
I understand.
And, you know, and I don't drive it to Texas. I don't drive it in the city. I go to Guthrie, Kingfisher. I'm going right now to check on cattle.
Okay. Well, I did issue for a defective equipment. It's $80. You have till September 16th.
In this scenario, it is evident that at least one of Ms. Hamill's kicks connected with Officer Massini's leg, an action that a court would likely categorize as both an assault and a battery resulting in harm. Following her arrest, Ms. Hamill declined medical attention but was taken to the ER for assessment before being sent to jail. Court records reveal that she was charged with assault and battery on a police officer, resisting arrest, obstructing law enforcement, and operating a vehicle with defective equipment. She pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor charges, with a felony charge dropped as part of a plea deal. Ms. Hamill received a 4-year deferred sentence and was fined $50 for each count.
Not.
Do not take off.
Shut up and give me that and I'll sign it.
Step out.
No.
We're beyond that.
Do you want me
Step
to-
out. 305 dispatch. Got one taken off. Yes! Get out of the car! 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 Get out of the car!
After her arrest, body camera footage circulated on social media, leading to a city council meeting with over 50 attendees discussing the incident. Some supported the police department, while others protested Ms. Hamill's treatment. Ms. Hamill's attorney criticized Officer Massini's actions as unnecessary and tormenting, suggesting potential legal actions. Officer Massini was graded a C- for his professional demeanor, but also criticized for using a taser on an elderly woman. While his actions might be legally defensible, it was deemed excessive. Ms. Hamill received an F for non-compliance, attempting to flee and resisting arrest. Despite reservations about the taser use, her conduct created a constitutional basis for it. Choosing not to contest the citation resulted in multiple convictions on her record instead of addressing the issue legally. Now let's move on to the next investigation where an officer gets suspended.
Our EMS, taser deployed, one female, custody.
Why didn't you just sign the ticket?
Because I felt like he would be clear with me because I have been in town forever with this thing. I've been on go to and get the damn thing sorted.
Do you realize you just got yourself in a whole lot more trouble?
On the morning of April 19, 2023, Officer Scott Harrell from the Texas City Police Department approached driver Christopher Scholl at a pump within a Buc-ee's gas station. Officer Harrell alleged that Scholl had swiftly maneuvered through parking spaces, prompting a white truck to abruptly brake in order to avert a potential collision. The ensuing exchange between the two was recorded by Officer Harrell's body camera. Officer Harrell remarked that if he had not already exhausted his supply of tickets, he would issue Mr. Shaw a citation for disregarding a traffic control device. This statement was made despite the fact that the reported infraction took place on private property.
The reason why you felt you needed to come through the parking lot like that?
I didn't think I did anything wrong. I just came over to get gas.
You were speeding and you cut through parking spaces. You know you can't do that.
I didn't think I was doing anything, man.
I mean, you
all
walked
I'm doing
around.
is coming to get gas.
Yep. Oh, are we gonna go back and forth, or are you just gonna?
You asked me a question. You want me to answer it or not? I'm not. If anything, I thought I was going even slower than normal.
No, sir.
Because normally people don't even park where you park, and that's the direct path to the gas pumps.
You almost hit that car that was turning right there. I was watching, man. As soon
didn't
as you
almost
cut in
hit
front of me
anybody.
like that, I was like
Okay.
looking and I watched it happen. So
I come here every day. There's almost never, ever, ever anybody. So yeah, I go through there because it's the straight path.
On April 19, 2023, Officer Scott Harrell of the Texas City Police Department approached Christopher Scholl at a Buc-ee's gas station, accusing him of driving recklessly through parking spaces, causing another vehicle to brake suddenly. After being cited and released, Scholl obtained body camera footage and posted it on his YouTube channel, which gained traction on other platforms. In response to public backlash, Texas City Police Chief Joe Stanton announced an internal investigation by the Office of Professional Standards into Harrell's conduct, with the potential for criminal charges.
Every day when I come through.
okay, look, I'm not gonna write you tickets, but the only reason I'm not writing you tickets is because I'm out of tickets right now. Okay, otherwise you would be receiving some tickets.
For what? What did the citation? I'm just curious.
Disregarding traffic control device.
On private property?
Yes.
Okay.
You still can't do that.
Harrell was placed on administrative duties during the inquiry. Scholl's citation was later dismissed, and he revealed plans for civil action against the department through online campaigns. While the surveillance footage remains undisclosed, Scholl's actions were commended for complying with Harrell's orders while respectfully dissenting.
So I'm not gonna write you a ticket.
I hear you, man. I understand.
I don't appreciate the attitude. Two, I get it. You're upset. Nobody likes cops pulling up on them. Nobody likes it. Okay, but you know you did wrong. You know you're not supposed to cut through the parking lot. And instead of being like, "Oh yeah, I messed up. Sorry, it won't happen again," you want to sit here and go back and forth with it.
There's a lot better things than this to be doing for you.
You're right. I was working on a
You
report.
can be over here, and there's people right now running 90 miles an hour on the thing.
You want to go to jail?
So
you want to go to jail? You could go to jail for this.
you can do what you want to do. I can't stop.
I don't want to take you to jail.
You know?
That is definitely a waste of my time. Okay, but the attitude is not necessary.
I agree.
That's on your part, sir. I haven't been rude to you at all. I will get in trouble. You go file a complaint, get me in trouble. Write me up.
I'm not worried about that.
All right, well, I'll make sure that I'm there all the time. If I see it happen again, then
Okay.
we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right?
I'll look that law up on private property. I don't believe you'd have the authority to do anything here on this parking lot like that.
I could also take you to jail for Class B reckless driving because you did almost hit that car.
The encounter highlighted the complex interplay between free speech rights and lawful arrests. The incident underlined concerns about retaliatory arrests and Supreme Court precedent's impact on individuals seeking justice.
You can do what you want to do, Harold. I can't stop you. If you want to be this way, then that's up to you. I'm trying to be a reasonable
Are you having
person.
a bad day,
I
sir?
think
Is there a reason why you're
No,
acting like
I'm
this?
having a bad day because
Have I raised my
you're
voice at you
doing
at
this
all?
to me. I think this whole thing is ridiculous.
What do you specifically do you think is ridiculous?
That we're even talking about nothing happened, and here we are talking, and you're threatening to take me to jail.
No, I'm
And so I
advising you
shouldn't
that
be getting
it's an
upset.
option. I don't call it a threat, sir.
No,
an
it's a
option.
threat. That is a threat. You're threatening me under color of law now to take something on private
Color of
property,
law
which I don't believe you even have the authority to do.
It's a
But now you
dictionary
want
term,
to.
sir.
Okay.
It comes from black law.
No, it's not. It's a
dictionary.
Class A misdemeanor for you to threaten to arrest me over something that you know it's not really true. But that's okay.
What's the penal code on that, sir?
The commentary supported Scholl's decision to legally challenge Harrell's conduct and encourage him to persist in pursuing a civil lawsuit.
This is a problem.
How's it a problem?
I feel
How's
like
this
you're
a
going to
problem?
continue to commit these behaviors that are unsafe and put people at risk.
So
You
now
don't
we're
feel
going
like you
after
did
people
anything
for
wrong.
something that's possible they may do in the future. So now we're playing Jean-Claude Van Damme future cop, and you need to stop me from something I may do in the future. That's now your position.
What is the law designed to do, sir?
Oh, I know you want
designed to
compliance.
stop people from
I know
doing
you
things
want
that they're not
voluntary
supposed to be
compliance. I know you want voluntary compliance.
Okay, go ahead and put your hands on the back.
Wow.
It emphasized the importance of respectful communication and lawful conduct in encounters with law enforcement. On June 26, 2020, Karen Garner, a 73-year-old woman suffering from dementia and sensory aphasia, was stopped by Walmart employees after she left the store without paying for items worth approximately $14. Video footage captured Miss Garner walking out of the store with the items in her hands, and she was soon brought back inside by the employees. Subsequently, Miss Garner attempted to pay for the items, but Walmart employees refused her service and asked her to leave immediately. Compliance with their request, Miss Garner left the store. However, one of the Walmart employees contacted the Loveland Police Department to report the alleged theft. A few minutes later, Officer Austin Hoop responded to the call and located Miss Garner as she was walking home after the incident. Officer Hoop parked his patrol car behind her and approached to stop her. Unfortunately, the situation escalated negatively. Officer Hoop failed to effectively communicate with Miss Garner, and he resorted to violently throwing her to the ground in an attempt to place her in handcuffs. This action was unjustified as Miss Garner displayed no signs of being a threat to Officer Hoop and did not attempt to flee. Instead, she continued walking, which did not warrant such a forceful takedown. In fact, Officer Hoop's approach appeared misplaced from the beginning as he asked the visibly confused Miss Garner an unnecessary question. Do you need to be arrested right now?
Do you need to be arrested right now? No. Okay. Let's stop.
After successfully placing Miss Garner in handcuffs, Officer Hoop proceeded to guide her back to the patrol car. Unfortunately, during this process, he continued to employ excessive force on her and attempted to insinuate that she had been engaged in a physical altercation with him.
Why are you fighting with me? And why are you trying to slip the cuffs off?
The video from the officer's body camera proved to be beyond a reasonable doubt that Miss Garner and Officer Hoop never came close to a physical altercation. It's obvious that Officer Hoop didn't need to use so much force to keep a 73-year-old woman in custody. In addition, it's important to highlight that Officer Hoop apparently did not take into account the detainee's mental state, which is a significant issue. Officer Hoop obviously disregarded the legal requirement that police use their discretion to determine whether or not a suspect is mentally competent.
I'm going home. I'm going home.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to search your room.
As if the force employed by one cop wasn't already severe, a second confrontation broke out as cop Daria Jalali arrived to aid Officer Hoop, resulting in Miss Garner being taken to the ground again. Both officers proceeded to secure Miss Garner inside the patrol car despite her repeated statements that she was simply trying to go home. Officer Hoop responded to her pleas with a dismissive laugh, stating, "No, you're not," in a mocking manner.
What are you doing? Get out of here. This is not your business.
Once again, Hoop's negligent demeanor became evident as he dealt with the situation. While Officer Hoop moved to the other side of the patrol car to secure Miss Garner, a Good Samaritan emerged from his vehicle and approached Officer Hoop, questioning the necessity of using aggression against an elderly woman.
What's your date of birth, Karen? What's your date of birth? Okay.
The young man had witnessed the entire incident unfold from a distance and decided to drive up to the scene. Officer Hoop, displaying further negligence, dismissed the young man's concerns, instructing him to leave as it was none of his business. Following a brief confrontation, Officer Hoop returned to assisting Officer Jolly in securing Miss Garner. Once they successfully placed Miss Garner inside the patrol car, Officer Hoop attempted to identify her by asking for her date of birth. However, he received no response, indicating Miss Garner was unable to provide the requested information. Given Miss Garner's disability, it is unsurprising that she would encounter difficulties understanding Officer Hoop's demands, let alone recalling her date of birth. Both officers appear to overlook the possibility of Miss Garner having a disability, despite it becoming increasingly evident by that point. Shortly after, the officers engaged in a casual conversation, during which Officer Jalali expressed her concerns for Officer Hoop, stating that she would have arrived more quickly if he had mentioned a physical altercation.
Okay.
Hey.
Let's get her down the stairs.
Okay, we don't need to wait for the fellow.
No, we can see what I mean, we know she, what's it say?
She stole some stuff, and they caught her before she left and got it back, and she ran out. So we have the...
And you contacted her for that.
And then she resisted.
Obstructed and resisted, so...
We're good either way.
So we're good either way,
Cool.
she's going.
All right.
If they decide not to prosecute, I don't care.
Cool. Okay, we'll head down there.
Officer Hoop responded to Officer Jalali's concerns by making remarks about Miss Garner, commenting that she was like 20 pounds, and implying that the situation would have been different if it had involved a larger individual. This statement indicates that Officer Hoop was well aware of Miss Garner's fragile state as an elderly woman, yet he still exhibited excessive aggression toward her. The situation becomes even more questionable when both officers display uncertainty about the potential charges against Miss Gardner. Officer Jalali appears to have no understanding of what Miss Gardner could have done wrong initially. Sergeant Phil Metzler, the fourth responding officer, informs Officer Hoop that Miss Garner would be charged with resisting arrest and obstruction, regardless of whether or not Walmart decided to press charges. Immediately following the incident, Officer Hoop, Officer Jalali, and Community Service Officer Tyler Blackett were captured by a police station surveillance camera, engaging in laughter and joking while watching the footage of the arrest from Officer Hoop's body camera. On May 19, 2021, the Colorado 8th Judicial District Critical Response Team completed an investigation into the incident, leading to the filing of criminal charges against Officer Hoop and Officer Jalali. Officer Hoop faced 3 charges, including assault. However, on March 2, 2022, Officer Hoop pleaded guilty to a single charge of second-degree assault, classified as a Class 4 felony. Consequently, he received a 5-year prison sentence. Meanwhile, Officer Jalali pleaded guilty to 1 count of failure to intervene in Larimer County District Court in June of the same year. As a result, she was sentenced to 45 days in jail and placed under 36 months of probation. However, despite the clarification provided by Mr. Hodges when he displayed his cane from his back pocket to Deputy Goad, she continued to pursue him. It became evident that Deputy Goad lacked probable cause to detain Mr. Hodges, as her suspicion of him carrying a firearm was disproven.
What's this in your back pocket? I just saw you walking it.
The navigational aids. What's the problem? You a tyrant?
Yeah, I am actually. What's your name and date of birth?
I don't have to give that unless
Yes, sir. I was investigating.
You have reasonable.
Do you want me to put you in handcuffs right now? Yes, sir, I do.
What is your suspicion?
It looks like you're carrying a gun in your back pocket. I'm stopping to make sure you're carrying it properly. You don't
have you ensured that it's not a firearm?
No, you keep turning so I can't see it. You don't have to be a dick to me.
Well, you're being one to me.
No, sir, I'm doing my job.
Am I detained?
Yeah, you are.
Nevertheless, Deputy Goad proceeded to inform Mr. Hodges that he was being detained and demanded his identification, asking for his name and date of birth. Mr. Hodges questioned the necessity of providing his personal information, stating that he had not committed any crime. In response, he requested the presence of Deputy Goad's supervisor, who coincidentally arrived at that moment.
What'd you stop you for? Want a walking stick.
So,
And it could look like a weapon. She asked you to really present it, okay? Now she's asking me for ID. Okay. I don't need the ID unless a reasonable, articulated suspicion. And that I have committed a crime, and committing a crime, or about to do a crime.
Sergeant Randy Harrison approached Mr. Hodges and promptly inquired about the reason for Deputy Goad's initial stop. Mr. Hodges explained the circumstances to Sergeant Harrison, who in turn demanded identification from Mr. Hodges as well.
You were armed, okay, and she's asking you for your ID. Well, now she has verified that I am not armed, okay? So there is no problem. You have your ID or not? I do have my ID, but you don't need it, okay? Okay?
Initially, Deputy Goad may have possessed a reasonable suspicion to stop Mr. Hodges if she genuinely believed that the item protruding from his back pocket was a firearm. However, once it became unequivocally evident that Mr. Hodges was not carrying any firearms, any further detainment would be considered unlawful. Despite this realization, Deputy Goad and her supervisor, Sergeant Harrison, collaborated to handcuff Mr. Hodges and conduct a search of his pockets. Mr. Hodges requested the names and badge numbers of both officers, but neither of them responded to his demand.
Where's your wallet at, sir? I don't have my wallet on me.
Okay, where's your ID?
Where's your ID at? Pocket. Which pocket? You are not allowed to search me.
It's in this pocket. Thank you.
It is important to note that throughout the ordeal, the officers did not show any concern regarding the cane that initiated the encounter. The cane remained in Mr. Hodges' back pocket during the entire confrontation, and neither of the two officers displayed any interest in it, even when Mr. Hodges pulled it out in front of them. This further emphasizes that the cane was never the underlying issue. The officers had other, seemingly trivial reasons to detain Mr. Hodges. After engaging in back-and-forth communication over the police radio, Deputy Goad approached Mr. Hodges once again, attempting to assert unnecessary authority and further escalate the situation. She questioned him, asking if it was challenging for him to comply.
Are you legally blind? Yes, I am. Okay. I had to walk up here in the dark for jury duty. which was canceled. But you're using your stick. You don't have to use your stick all the time? Not all the time.
Mr. Hodges was arrested and charged with resisting without violence, as indicated by jail records that show his booking at 8:25 a.m. that morning. He was released 26 hours later. 2 days following his release, Mr. Hodges submitted a records request for the body camera footage on November 7, 2022. The viral video that circulated clearly demonstrated that Mr. Hodges had not engaged in any actions warranting arrest. An arrest report authored by Deputy Goad, she stated that James had violated Florida Statute 843.02 by obstructing an ongoing investigation. According to her report, Mr. Hodges repeatedly refused to allow identification of the object in his pocket and declined to provide his ID. However, the body camera footage contradicted her account, showing that Mr. Hodges promptly and willingly presented the object from his pocket to both officers. Ms. Odom's claims that Mr. Clark had assaulted her resulted in a bloody altercation turned out to be unfounded. When the officers arrived at the scene, there was no evidence of blood or visible injuries. Moreover, had the officers requested a background check on Ms. Odom, they would have discovered her extensive history of encounters with the law. This included a 2016 conviction for fraud in the first degree, multiple felony charges of aggravated domestic assault, and even an attempted murder charge, which she apparently remained influenced by. The actions taken by officers Hanning and Summers demonstrated a clear neglect of the usual protocols during the encounter.
I literally just saw banged on the door, or through the wall. Bam, 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 and I'm sleeping. Shut the f*** up!
They seemed to accept Miss Odom's account without questioning her, despite the evident fact that she was intoxicated and lacked clarity. After speaking with Miss Odom and Mr. Braden, the officers proceeded to approach Mr. Clark, who resided next door. Following a few knocks on Mr. Clark's door, he opened it while holding a collectible sawfish snout sword, which had been a gift from his late brother-in-law. Mr. Clark had retrieved the sword with the sole intention of self-defense, expecting a confrontation with Miss Odom rather than the arrival of police attempting to resolve the matter. Given the circumstances, Mr. Clark was entirely justified in opening the door with a weapon in hand, as the officers had not identified themselves as law enforcement, a requirement mandated by law prior to such encounters. Despite the situation de-escalating when Mr. Clark complied by placing the weapon on a shelf and facing the officers, Officer Hanning made an attempt to tackle him by kicking his leg and punching his head. It was apparent at this point that Mr. Clark did not pose a threat to the officers. Officer Hanning had sufficient time and opportunity to detain Mr. Clark after he had put away the sword. However, instead of doing so, Officer Hanning retreated and proceeded to draw his firearm. Mr. Clark, remaining motionless with his hands clearly visible, demonstrated that he held nothing that could potentially harm anyone.
What do you want? What the fuck?
It was at this moment that Officer Hanning, without providing any warning, aimed his taser at Mr. Clark's stomach and discharged it. It's important to note the conflicting demands issued by the two officers. Officer Hanning instructed Mr. Clark to walk into the hallway, while Officer Summers simultaneously told him to get on the ground. As Mr. Clark fell backward, his head made contact with a chair, rendering him unconscious. The situation worsened when both officers attempted to move Mr. Clark's body outside, resulting in his head striking the corner of a shelf, which caused a laceration on his head. Furthermore, Officer Hanning employed unnecessary force by placing his knee on Mr. Clark's neck while restraining him with handcuffs. Reports indicated that his knee restraint led to an injury to Mr. Clark's carotid artery, necessitating surgical intervention for treatment. It is notable that this particular knee restraint has been associated with several fatalities in the past. As Officer Summers attended to Mr. Clark in an attempt to revive him, Officer Hanning had a different agenda.
Get out here right now! Get out here!
Get on the ground!
No. They hit that wall so hard, I thought they were going to come through the wall.
He re-entered Mr. Clark's apartment and took hold of the sword that had been placed on top of the shelf. The reasoning behind Officer Hanning's actions may have been unclear at first, but it became evident with his subsequent actions. Officer Hanning positioned the sword approximately 5 feet away from where Mr. Clark lay unconscious, creating the illusion that Mr. Clark had walked out of his apartment wielding the sword with the intent to attack the officers. Following the use of unlawful force, Mr. Clark was swiftly transported to the hospital, where tests for drugs or alcohol came back negative. His initial vital signs indicated the possibility of heart-related complications, and he required stitches for a head wound. Within 24 hours of the incident, Mr. Clark developed a blood clot in his injured carotid artery and began vomiting blood. Additionally, 12 hours later, he suffered a stroke. Approximately 48 hours after being discharged, Mr. Clark found himself readmitted to the hospital due to complications arising from the initial surgery. Consequently, Mr. Clark pursued legal action and reached a settlement agreement with the Idaho Springs Police Department amounting to a remarkable sum of $7 million. This record-breaking payout exceeds the settlement awarded to Karen Garner in September 2021.
What are y'all taking me in for? What did I do?
Operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs or other controlled substances.
No.
A belligerently intoxicated woman is arrested in Ohio after crashing a vehicle while transporting a patient with special needs.
Kelly, I'm gonna have you step out with me, okay? We gotta go. I know. I gotta get you out of here though, okay?
I know you're not gonna do that.
Yeah. Kelly, we're not laying back down.
All this before she blatantly...
Kelly Barton, then 48 years old, was put in a dangerous position by a series of strange happenings. She was on the clock and transporting a patient with special needs when the accident occurred. Kelly slammed into a lamppost while driving. Kelly's untidy and shaky appearance was immediately noticeable to the responding police officers.
I know what this is.
She shredded the back of that. She's
She in the back of my car.
Well, she popped both tires, so I'm afraid she hit something in the rash. So, yep. I guess it's going to be by the roundabout. That's what I think too. Well, you're saying she came Glendale Milford? Yeah, it'd be up. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's what she told me. The driver is in her car. Okay. So I came to an empty vehicle. All right. The owner of this facility or whatever it is, they transport special needs people.
32, squad dispatch 106.
This driver, she is
for 93-year-old female semi-conscious.
Kelly initially disputed responsibility for the collision, but it was later discovered that alcohol was a contributing factor. She denied that she had ever driven under the influence, despite the fact that she was employed as a caregiver. However, video surveillance from a neighboring gas station positively identified her as the driver. As a result, she was accused of driving under the influence while transporting the sick patient, and she also faced charges of ignoring her duty.
Your driver is someone that stays at a shelter?
Huh?
Your driver is somebody who stays at a shelter?
My co-worker. She's a co-worker.
Okay.
But I'm the driver. That's my car. She in the back seat.
No, I'm talking about this one.
This one, yeah, she stays in the shelter.
She stays in the shelter.
She just got the job. Yeah, she just got.
We're trying to figure out a way. If we got to get her home, we got to figure out a safe place to.
Yeah, she's at the shelter. I know.
So here's the situation. It's a unique one.
Norway 31, okay.
This car belongs to a special needs driver service. They drive special needs people around to different places. The driver is heavily intoxicated. We're going to go see what she hit in Blue Ash, but the gentleman that was being driven said she hit a pole. The car's on only one wheel. When I got here, the car is turned off, and this driver is sitting in the passenger seat of a co-worker's car that came to pick up the special needs person. So, can we even go the other guy route? Nobody saw her driving. Lady picked her up, said my boss told me to come down here, and
Kelly's behavior took a sudden and unwelcome turn as paramedics arrived to examine her. She started making sexual statements about the responding officers that shocked everyone. Multiple tests conducted by the police confirmed that Kelly's blood alcohol content was far higher than the permissible level.
yeah, let's go ahead and just get some normal squad. Hey Kelly,
Yes, sir.
can I have you step out here with me real quick? I'll help you out. I know, here we go. Give me your hand and I'm gonna help you out.
Trying.
I know you're trying, but I need you to work with me, okay? So this nice lady can give you a ride home, okay? So go ahead and step out for me, all right?
Officers worked for several minutes to convince Barton to step out of the vehicle.
Kelly, I know you're tired. Here, hold my hand. And I'm gonna get you out, okay? So I need you to come out with me, all right? Because we're gonna work together, okay?
Listen to my partner, please.
Yeah, come on, Kelly. Please. I'm gonna get you these shoes, all right?
Kelly, knowing that her arrest was likely, persisted in her bold behavior, fighting off the cops as they tried to place her in the police car. At the end of the day, she was arrested for drunk driving. Kelly's arrest antics left a confusing tail in her trail, and if anyone thought she was brazen before, they were shocked by what... A situation of mounting tension played out outside a residence, heightening into a sharp exchange between a woman and a team of police officers who were in pursuit of an individual named Christopher Ruff.
I need to speak with him about an incident. Do you have a phone number for him or anything?
I do not.
You do not? Do you mind if I grab your information? Just say I talked to you and that you said he wasn't home?
No, for what reason? What is this about?
It's an incident that he was involved in. I need to interview him about.
Okay, what incident?
The woman, taken aback by their sudden appearance and intrusive actions, asserted that Christopher wasn't present. Despite not knowing his whereabouts, she declined to provide any further information, growing increasingly uncomfortable with the officers' relentless inquiries and the insinuations their presence brought.
I don't need to answer that question.
What?
I don't need to answer that question.
Do you answer any questions?
Nope.
No? Okay, then thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, you too. Is there a reason you're walking around my car right now? There's
Yeah,
1,
we're
2,
talking
3,
to
4,
you. Have a
5,
good day.
6
Thank
of
you.
you surrounding my fucking car. Why are you here?
Regardless of her distinct assertion that she lacked any useful information, the officers carried on with their questioning, they initiating photographing her car and circling it in a manner that she found threatening.
I didn't say that, you liar. Why are you taking pictures of my fucking car? Why are you talking to Chris if it's my fucking car? You have to tell me why you are taking pictures of my vehicle. That's why?
Yes.
Why didn't you fucking tell me that? I've been asking for like 20 minutes.
She demanded to know why they were photographing her vehicle and why they were at her location, her irritation mounting with every evasion of her questions. In response to her rising annoyance, one of the officers finally divulged a vague reason for their actions. He mentioned that her car had been implicated in an incident. However, he left the specifics of the supposed incident undisclosed, causing the woman's confusion to persist.
He was involved in an incident, that's what he said. And then I said, why are you surrounding my car? And nobody's fucking answered. I didn't say that. What are you talking about? I'm recording right now.
I was involved in a collision. Would you like to talk to us about that now?
What collision? I wasn't driving the car.
She denied driving the car and asserted that it had been parked there the whole time. The woman defended her rights vocally, challenging the officers' actions and their refusal to supply clear explanations for their conduct. Despite their assurances that she wasn't receiving any kind of citation, the continued presence of the officers and their invasive actions cast doubts over the authenticity of their claims.
It's been parked here. What do you need? What do you need?
Okay, who drives your car then?
None of your fucking business. None of your fucking business. What do you need with my car?
With you, but if you're just going to be disrespectful and not answer the question,
Are you going to give me a citation of some kind?
No, I'm not. That's why I didn't ask to speak.
Then stop taking fucking pictures of my car.
That's why I asked to speak with the person.
If you need any information, you can call the person that you think was involved.
Then I asked for his phone
and get
number
the fuck
you
away
said
from my
give it to
car.
me, okay?
Their persistence in photographing her vehicle, even in the face of her repeated pleas for clarity, remained unbroken. The interaction concluded in a deadlock, with a woman resolute in her refusal to surrender information and the officers unsuccessful in adequately justifying their actions.
Are we done? Do you have everything you need?
Okay, yeah, we are done.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Fuck out of here.